Hi, everybody. Welcome to Baphomet's Lounge. I'm your host, the incomparable NSS. And, last week I was talking about Nazareth and, was so into their discography, and the interview was getting long that I kind of glossed over the shows that I saw. So I wanted to kind of talk about the shows because they were all very special, and I'd seen them 7 times, and they all got interesting stories about them. So the very first time was in '93. It was a package tour. It was called Total Recall. I actually found this shirt years later. Can you see? Yeah, it was Blue Oyster Cult, Nazareth, Uriah Heep, and Wishbone Ash. They were playing at a place called the Pellamund House in West Seneca. And Brother John, years later, Mayer Brothers owned that, bought the place, and Brother John actually worked there. So it was kind of funny. He was kind of working in like a warehouse factory situation where we saw a concert there. And to this day, I'm still kind of pissed at Brother John and Chuck because we're meeting up at Chuck's house, and we're like, let's go. I'm like, come on, guys, we gotta go to the show. They're like, oh, relax, it hasn't started yet. And as a result, we only saw 2 songs by Wishbone Ash, and then Uriah Heep came up and fucking wailed, and they did. I stood right in front of Trevor Bolder, the bass player, the late Trevor Bolder. Fucking dude is a monster. Was a monster bass player. Blew my mind. Then Nazareth came on stage, and they opened up with "Do You Want to Play House" off their new album, No Jive, at that time. And I remember it was like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And I said, yeah. And they had this great harmonies. And I remember just like, whoa. And I looked over at Poultry, who was standing next to me, and Poultry was like, it was just so great. So they opened up with "Do You Want to Play House," "Higher and Fire," "Razzmanazz," "I Want to Do Everything," "Holiday." And then they did years I never knew what it was. It was Long Black Veil, and they did an interesting thing where they all came to the front of the stage and did an a cappella version with just Daryl Sweet, the late Daryl Sweet, playing drums. And Billy Rankin was with them on that tour. Then they did My White Bicycle, This Flight Tonight, and ended with Love Hurts. BOC came on, and it was kind of lame, actually. And, Nazareth and Uriah Heep were the show for me that day. The next time I saw them 2 days in a row. Wednesday, November 12th, 1997, and Malibu Jacks in Niagara Falls, Ontario, with a band Super Garage opened up for them. And a funny story, as I went to cross the border, and I cross the border all the time. I used to go to Canada all the time. I used to drive to Toronto to go see concerts and stuff. Nothing for me to cross the border. But, as the lottery goes, every once in a while they'll basically say, hey, what are you carrying? You answer and they say, can you come on over, pull over? So they pull over and they search my car and look through through everything, and okay, you're good to go. And I remember after, they're usually kind of tough. They're trying to ask you some questions. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And then when I was done, I said, hey, can you tell me how to get to Malibu Jacks? And the guy's like, oh, yeah. The customs official goes, yeah, go over here and go to the left and go to the right and go here or whatever like that. I'm like, oh, cool. So I go out there and I'm front row. I actually wound up meeting their, I think it was a road manager, really nice guy. I was talking to him. And then I was like front row, and I knew I'm singing. They opened up with Steamroller, Razzmanazz, God Save the South, which was off the forthcoming album Boogaloo, but they kept referring to it as an N. They were going to call it N. Yankee boy, shut your mouth. Fucking killer. Then they did Beggar's Day. Yeah, Danny does this thing with his hand like that. Feedback Bernie loves that move. Danny McCafferty is so hilarious because he kind of dances he dances real slow and he shakes his hands and shit like that. And then they did Dream On, Holiday, Big Boy, My White Bicycle, Hearts Grown Cold, Java Blues, I don't know why they did it, but they did it, Whiskey Drinking Woman, This Flight Tonight, Hair of the Dog, and the encore is probably the worst encore ever. They did Cocaine and Love Hurts. And I remember I was like front row and I'm singing every song, and this lady that was kind of like backstage or whatever, or on the side of the stage, but she was probably with them, she was like pointing me out, like, this guy knows all the songs. And I remember Pete Agnew, I'm like, yeah, front row, and he grabs my hand and kisses my hand. I'm like, yeah, I was like, oh. And I got backstage, and they autographed my CDs. They were sweethearts. And that lady was like, this guy knows all your songs. He's like a huge fan. And they were just sweethearts. And all the CDs I autographed were were from that first batch that were not the remastered versions that I bought off of Buccaneer Records. So a lot of those I actually, when I bought the remasters, I sold them on either eBay or gave them to friends. I know I gave it to Feedback Bernie, and I don't think I have any CDs now signed by the late Daryl Sweet. He's since passed away. So that, what can I do? Such is life. I don't care for the money. I care for the music. So I get the autographs just to enhance the stuff. If I get a remaster, I've started to keep now albums now that I've autographed, that are autographed. When I buy the remaster, I keep the album, but I'm all about giving the music on. When I sell them on eBay, fucking don't even care what I make on it. It's just get it to somebody else that could love it. The next night, Thursday, November 13th, 1997, at Club Denham in Guelph, Ontario. Exact same set list. Feedback Bernie, DJ Gooch, and Sex Martin and I all went up. We made it to Guelph in like 90 minutes. And I'll never forget this because it was just wild. And the funniest thing ever, that's where Feedback Bernie just loves this. He loves this. He says, this is what Danny kept doing. And somebody, is handing, and you could ask Gooch because he was there, it was funny, hands this picture, Danny singing, I think it was during Razmanaz, he hands this picture up to Danny, like a little Polaroid photograph, and it must have been that they took of Danny back in the 70s or 80s. And Danny's going, we got to get it together. And he starts laughing in the middle of singing. He starts laughing because he's looking at it. So he must have been, him with his big fro or something like that. And then he's pointing to the guy, is this for me? Whatever. And the guy's going, no. You know what I'm saying? And he goes, thank you. And he hands a photo off to his roadie or something like that. So Danny, wherever you are, if you ever see this message, the guy was saying no, and you thought it was for you, and you gave the photo, his precious photo away of you from the 70s somewhere. So I hope you've kept it somewhere safe because that guy was actually saying no, not yes. But hey, then while we were at the show, a flash blizzard happens. And we were driving my Ford Aerostar van, and I used to take out the middle section of the seat, so the back was very comfy. And as I'm starting to drive, it was rear-wheel drive. And that van served me well. 236,000 miles I got out of that sucker. But because it was rear-wheel drive, it started shifting, and I got spooked. So DJ Gooch wound up driving us all home. And I remember him saying, man, I forgot how taxing it was driving in the snow with rear-wheel drive. But we made it home at 5 in the morning, and I was 27. I got up and went to work the next day ain't nothing but a thing. Next time I saw him, August 24th, 1998, they were playing a place called Front 54 in Thoreau, Ontario, with Rick Emmett opening. And I remember I had bargain bin band practice, my side my backup band. We were rehearsing at Mark Fry's house, Dr. Mark Fry's house, in his basement. And I was like, okay, rehearsal's over. I'm running to catch Nazareth. And I forgot that it was Feedback that reminded me from the last video that he and Benton, the Jehovah Witness, went to see that show. And so I just got in time to see Nazareth. They open up with Telegram. Oh, fucking still singing it at his age. And then they did Steamroller. And I'll remember Danny was like, yeah, this song's about my girl. She's about this tall with a flat head. And everyone's laughing. It's like, hey, that's my baby you're laughing at. He's just such a hilarious fucking. That's what I love about those guys. They were so funny. Even when they opened up, I think I mentioned and I said on the video when they opened up in the Pellman house, it's like, how the fuck are you, Buffalo? Well, this is Cheektowaga or West Seneca. I don't know, where the fuck are we? They're just really hilarious. And so so they do Telegram, Steamroller, Razmanaz, God Save the South. Beggar's Day, Dream On, Holiday, My White Bicycle, Hearts Grown Cold, Java Blues, Whiskey Drinking Woman, Hair of the Dog. Oh, then the encore is This Flight Tonight and Love Hurts. So thank God they didn't do cocaine. But still some of the same stuff, still a stellar show. Fifth time I saw them, another package tour. You never see them in the U.S. unless it's a package tour. Blue Oyster Cult, Todd Rundgren, Nazareth, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Edgar Winter and Rick Derringer. It was at Vernon Downs. It was on August 13th, 2000. It was a Sunday. Went with Brother John, Carl von Schweger, his brother Doug, and Veronica. And then we met up with John and Darkness. Dark Marcus was there, because I know Brother John and Dark Marcus are huge Todd Rundgren fans. Nazareth just fucking slayed it. They were just amazing. They opened up with Light Comes Down, Razmanaz, and they did Miss Misery, Please Don't Judas Me. I was front row for that one. That was fucking amazing. They did Holiday, My White Bicycle. They did Hearts Grown Cold, Beggar's Day, Whiskey Drinking Woman, This Flight Tonight, and then they did Hair of the Dog, and then the encore was Love Hurts. And I remember in the corner, Eric Bloom from Bloister Cult was like in the side, like, you know, applauding him. I can't remember what song it was. Maybe it was Hair of the Dog or whatever, but he was like pretending to hit a cowbell or something. That was a great fucking show. Again, BOC was the weakest of that. I had a major headache, so I missed Todd Rundgren. I was in the back. After that, I had just a big headache earlier that day because it was just such a long thing. But yeah, that was a good show. I mean, again, seeing him in the U.S., you never get to see him. It wasn't again until Friday, December 20th, 2002, I saw him at the Glen Pavilion in Dunfermline, Scotland, as I mentioned, and I was staying. Oh wow, there's a lot of notes I wrote about this on my website. I was staying with Ronnie Dalrymple and his wife Bev. He's a lighting director, and my road manager at the time, Rob Ellen. He kind of knew because he was a Fifer as well. So I actually stayed in Nazareth's old tour bus that was parked by Ronnie Dalrymple's house, and it was built like a flight case. It's the coolest thing ever. So I actually we just hung out in the VIP room, and then went out. Wow, just Nazareth came out, and gotta fix this up. But they opened up with When the Lights Came Down, Razmanaz, Miss Misery, the Please Don't Judas Me, Holiday, Dream On, which I hadn't heard in a long time. I love that song. Bad Bad Boy, Danger Danger, which was a new song. Then they did My White Bicycle, Hearts Grown Cold, Broken Down Angel, Beggar's Day, Whiskey Drinking Woman, and Hair of the Dog. Then they did This Flight Tonight, and the encore. Oh, they do Cocaine again, and Love Hurts. But to see Nazareth in their home country, that was a special, special, special show for me. Wow, it was just amazing, and just being that close to them, and they were sweethearts. And then it was August 13th, 2004. It was a Friday the 13th, and that was where that interview was conducted. I saw them at the Matrix nightclub in Brampton, Ontario. Again, those guys were so sweethearts, as you saw in the video. They were so humble and so funny. They extended full courtesy to me and Clay, who was the cameraman for that show. Just great, just absolute sweethearts. And the set list, they opened up with Changing Times off of Hair of the Dog. Such a heavy fucking tune. Go right into Not Faking It. Chock full Rare. Then they do the Miss Misery, Please Don't Judas Me. They did Razmanaz. Then they did Kentucky Fried Blues. How rare is this? Then they did this month's Messiah. Fucking rare off of The Catch. Bad Bad Boy. Then they do Love Leads to Madness off of 2XS. Then they did Sunshine. Rare off of Rampant. They do Cocaine. Burp. And then they did Turn On Your Receiver. Rare off of Loud and Proud. This Flight Tonight, which I can never get enough of. And then they did Hair of the Dog and Love Hurts. And for the encore, they did Night Woman. Rare off of Razmanaz. And then they ended the show with Broken Down Angel. So as far as set lists are concerned, that is the greatest Nazareth set list I ever saw. Their final time, which was in 2004. So I've always had, like I say, every Nazareth show I've gone to is always a special occasion, and much obliged, to those guys, and thanks for playing great music, and thanks everybody for, especially all the people who commented, and actually Billy Rankin sent me a wonderful message when I forwarded the video to him. He says, you really know your Nazareth trivia, mate, and that was very kind of him, and he didn't have to do that. So I wanted to do another special, video on, because I just spent so much time. I kind of glossed over their shows, and there was a lot of good stuff at their shows. So also, if you're watching this and you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, please make sure you like, subscribe. Hey, leave fuck you in the comments if you want to, or hey, you blow, and I don't ever want to see you again. Whatever it is, say something, I'd appreciate it. Or hey, how much you love Nazareth, because they are probably one of the most underrated bands. And actually, my friend Julie, she was like, sent me a message. She goes, I like your little videos about music. I actually went out to look up some Nazareth, and I downloaded some of the songs that you mentioned, Man, they're really good. And it kind of made me feel good, to have people that I was able, because that's what this is about, turning other people on to some stuff, and have people really digging the music that I love to share with others, and have them feel the same amount of love about it as I do. So feel free to like and subscribe and enjoy. And, last week I said, keep listening to good music. And you know what? I'm going to rephrase that, because all music is good music. There's nothing bad. You may not like everything. You don't have to listen to it, but all music is good music. And Frank Zappa said it best. He says, define the beginning of your composition, define the end of your composition, and whatever happens in the middle is your composition. So some stuff you may think, oh, that's weird, or maybe it's too poppy, or maybe it's too loud, that's fine. Don't listen to it. Just keep enjoying music. Okay, everybody. Peace.